Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Journey of You Joycast. We are going to talk about one of my favorite topics and least favorite topics, believe it or not. We've got two sides of the coin and they are equally there and present. And so today we are talking all about ego.
Ooh.
Bad, good, who knows?
We will find out. We will find out.
Welcome back to another episode of Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin and Chris, and we're here for joy.
This podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive in to today's episode.
Well, and I love that we're talking about this topic today because, as we go through our own spiritual journeys and we start becoming conscious of our thoughts and where our subconscious is, or what the subconscious thoughts that come up and become our thoughts and actions in our speech, we start to become aware of the ego, right? And it's often described as this thing that needs validation and
It's
can
bad.
be negative, and you're conceited. You're so full of yourself. Your ego is so big, right? Mm-hmm. And so today we want to talk about this idea, this truth, that the ego is the individual expression of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So Devin, come on in with me. Where are we taking this today? How did we start today?
Yeah. Oh, how did we start today? We start with a shirt. No, yeah. So, the ego's always present, right? And just this morning, we had an experience of the ego, and I was just putting on a shirt today, and I was led to wearing this. If you can't see right now, I'm wearing a beautiful gold, very vibrant shirt. And when I went to go put on this shirt, I was worried about it being too much and it making Felicia feel a certain way, or making even a listener or a viewer on YouTube or something feel a certain way, because I was wearing a big flashy shirt. Like, it seems like the smallest thing, right?
Seemingly. However, when I came on the meeting, I was like, wow, Devin, you look so beautiful. Your shirt is so lovely. And I was like, my immediate thought was, I wonder if I should put on something nicer. Even though I really love this color of the shirt that I'm wearing, you know, and it was just so curious for Devin to have all of that dialogue going on before she even put on the shirt, before she even stepped into the Zoom room. And then my initial thought to be, I should also wear nicer clothes. This is such a perfect example of the ego and how, when it comes in, it can be used in such a way that either keeps us small or comparing. Right. So Devin's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't wear this because it'll make people feel bad about themselves, or make them feel a certain way about themselves that I don't want them to feel. Right. So, if she listened to that egoic part of that, then she wouldn't have worn the shirt. However, as we said, like, if the ego is this true individual expression of the soul, neither good nor bad, right? When her soul is really present, it's like, I want to show up in this. I want to wear this shirt, and it's going to feel great and yummy and exciting. And it's going to light people up versus keep people small.
And that was the direct reflection that I got immediately upon seeing you. It's like, oh my God, I love what you're wearing. Is I actually got a celebration of my individual expression and my unique expression of my soul in this egoic container and vessel of myself. Is the actual first response I got was a confirmation of how great that is and how you love to see that, right? And then in that moment, then this is how quickly this stuff can happen, you guys. It's like Felicia was right there, and then in a flip second, you could see her judging herself and be like, oh, maybe I should change, right? And And that's where we're going, is that when we positively apply this, is like when we allow our true expression to flow through, that's when our true genius comes out. So when I allow my true expression to come through, like I would love to share that shirt, wear that shirt, I'm sharing my genius, I'm sharing my unique expression with others, which ultimately usually ends up being very inspiring and very like wanting other people to, like, it allows other people to actually lean into something that they may have not leaned into for themselves. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing that you, Felicia, were like, well, maybe I should change my shirt, right? It's this double-edged sword of, it's like, it just depends on what truth is, honestly, you guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the truth for me in that moment was like, no, I don't need to change my shirt. I'm like, I'm good in what I am. And, on the flip side of that, sometimes it's true, like, ooh, yeah, I also want to feel like sparkly.
But that's what's cool about like what I'm picking up in this, and what I'm really celebrating is because when we honor our unique expression of our soul, aka our ego, when we actually honor the ego, and it's like the ego is the vessel. It's the vehicle of orientation. It's like Devin is Devin, Felicia is Felicia. But when Devin shows up as Devin in her fullest expression, and the more that I do, that actually invites other people into their unique expression. Because you wouldn't choose the same shirt. Like, even if you had gone to change your shirt, you wouldn't wear the same exact shirt.
No, because that's not true to me. Right. And so now we're going into what is me.
Yes.
Right. It's like, so what Devin is saying and what we are both saying is like, each soul is on this planet. Right. And it's here to experience this human life that we have. But each human is so unique in, yes, their experiences, their personalities, their strengths, their weaknesses, their challenges, and their opportunities. And yeah, I realize I just went through a SWOT analysis, but it's how we choose to express, but also how we express what we know is us. Ooh, that was a lot. So in my truest expression, right, the things that come out that I'm lit up by, right? I get lit up by doing this podcast with you. And being able to talk about all of these big philosophical ideas, yes, and being able to distill it into like our daily lives and how we integrate these into our daily lives. And that lights me up. And really feeling like my soul is here to channel that in this moment. And the fact that you, Devin, and Chris, our other co-host, have these unique voices that, even though we're all talking about the same subjects, right? There's such unique expressions that what I say will resonate differently than what Devin says and what Chris says. And it's all beautiful. And it all allows us to expand into our fuller versions of ourselves.
And I love specifically what you talked about, is because it's one thing to philosophize about something, right? Like, you can sit here and ponder existence for millennia. Millennia. Philosophers, right? Like, it's one thing to be in philosophy. It's another thing to be applying philosophy into a lived experience. And that's, as you guys know, that's what we are about in this podcast. Is that there's a gajillion podcasts, there's a gajillion YouTube videos that you can watch to sit here and ponder everything and get ideas. But it's like, you're living in this ego, in this soul every day. We're living here every day, and moment to moment, we're making these choices and having these experiences that we're either allowing our full expression to come through, or we're denying our full expression. And so that's the other side of the coin, is that if we're denying that unique expression, we're going to perceive ourselves as being separate, and we're usually going to be perceiving us very small and playing small. We're going to be really compacted in how we're experiencing. And then therefore our experiencing, it might be fine, right? That's the big thing about this. A lot of people don't actually change, and they just sit there in that philosophy idea of like, let me ponder it all, because Because when you're in this limited point of view, it's a big concept, but you are a big concept. We are actually quite big, but so like, here's how I'm seeing it. So if you can see me on camera, and if not, I'm going to try to use my words as best as possible. We're this big soul, right? We're this unique expression of soul. Soul is all of us. It's the big mind. It's the bigness of us. And I can't be everybody, right? Like I can't be every single person on the universe, on the planet. I'm here as Devin in this body. And so there's a bigness that I quote unquote channel. That I embody, actually is the word I want to use. There's a bigness of soul that I embody, that if I were to deny, I'm going to be separate from myself, separate from Felicia, separate from you, the listener, and probably be not talking with my full soul voice. I'm going to be filtering. I'm going to be analyzing, and in a little bit we'll share some of those experiences that we've had of that. But that's how this can look in our lives when we're either not optimizing the ego as an experience, aka like denying the ego or thinking that it's bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like not optimizing. I don't know why, but
well, because that's what it's about. Like, I'm really passionate about this, and I actually get the most feedback about that word because that's what I'm about. I, and you, my unique expression, is here to optimize my life and your life. So any of my coaching clients, anybody that I work with, all of you listeners, why wouldn't we want to optimize how we're living our lives? Like living optimal life, right? Like, I don't know. Again, like I know some people are like okay with being okay. And if that's okay, then okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And there's likely a reason you're listening to this podcast. There's likely a reason that your soul is asking for more. And you can actually experience more through your ego. I know, trippy.
It's a mic drop moment.
So the whole shtick of this is that the more that you honor your unique gifts, the more that you actually honor your ego, the more that you'll actually experience the wholeness of life and your soul in your vessel, in your being as the being that you are now, right?
And, right, being able to differentiate, having that consciousness of when the ego is keeping you separate and small, what that sounds like and how you react to it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like when that ego is like if I wear this shirt, it's going to be too loud. It's going to make people uncomfortable. And so I won't wear the shirt. Right. And yes, this is a minor example, but these examples happen like all the time throughout our day if we're aware of them. And then if we become aware of how they either dictate or don't dictate our actions. Mm-hmm. Right. And we get to choose. Mm-hmm. So once you become more and more aware of that, you can step into what Devin is talking about, like full integration of honoring your unique strengths, your unique gifts, your unique values, and how your ego really wants to be expressed truthfully, truly, not from a space of separateness or denying or limitation.
Yeah. See? Yeah. And I know I have many time frames in my life where I was definitely limiting myself, not realizing it back then, right? Like back then, I thought it was completely reasonable, right? I thought that's the way everybody is, and a lot of us are at that juncture in life. But there were time frames in my life where, especially when we were in college, Felicia, like for sure, right? Like younger versions, but even up into 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and probably even last year, right? Different levels of this. But there's many time frames in my life where I was trying to fit in and conform to what or how I thought I needed to be because of other people around me. Right? What ended up happening is that as I'm looking to conform and fit in to be part of the whole, right? Like I feel separate, I feel small. My ideas let me be part of the whole, but then when I go to be part of the whole, in that lens, the only way to be part of the whole is to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Is to assimilate.
Right? And I think a lot of people can have that. What ended up happening for me is I was in my head all the time analyzing and just basically being miserable in my own existence. Sure, yeah, it looked like I was more assimilated. It looked like, but it was miserable for me. Like, even as I remember that, especially like I'm remembering this time frame in middle school where, like, to be honest, like this is coming through for me to share, is like I tried out for the cheerleading squad. It is not of my nature to be on a cheerleading squad. Nothing wrong with anybody who's a cheerleader, but like that wasn't me. It was a version of a young girl of me who wanted to be cool and wanted to fit in and wanted to find my way to be like of a certain in crowd kind of thing. And then inevitably what happened is I ended up injuring myself horribly and popping my hip out of socket and like this whole thing that was just like, the universe was telling me, this isn't for you, Devin. This is not you. Right? Ultimately, I was a competitive bowler. That's how Felicia and I met, is like bowling was my thing. But like as a 13-year-old girl, it's like, well, bowling's not cool. Cheerleading's really cool, right? Like I'm a nerd if I'm a bowler. Yeah, okay, I'm a nerd. Whatever, right? That's me. That's me. I enjoy. That's the crowd I wanted to hang out with. That's where I loved being. Right.
That's where you found your people.
Exactly. And so it was actually in honoring me, my unique version of me, my specific gifts, talents, abilities, allowed me to be me and enjoy myself. And then fast forward into me now, as every day I interface with that old self wanting to conform and fit in. And because I'm aware of that dynamic in myself, I'm not denying that egoic tendency. That egoic tendency, I'm not in denial of, I'm actually quite acutely aware of. So like this morning, when I'm looking at a shirt to wear, I'm aware of my ego being like, yeah, but that could make this person, it could make me, like all these things of what it could do. And what's true for me? It's true for me to wear this shirt today for me. Like, right? And this is where it just seems like some of the simplest things, but this is just a minute example. And there's so many bigger examples in my life. Like as of late, right, is in the last year of me wanting to grow my business. If I'm looking at other people in the world of how do they do things, I'm going to start to conform again into delivering my message in a conformed way that's not going to hit people and resonate the same way. And so it's like, it's true for me to be speaking from my truth, and that's not going to be for everybody. It's not. And if I'm trying to please everyone, I'm pleasing no one. And one of my coaches and dearest friends, Ellie Dayton, she says this: if you're not turning people off, then you're also not turning people on. And so if we're trying to conform, it's like you're trying to avoid turning people off. And it's actually like, it's been a big lesson for me of that. I'm not going to turn everybody on, and I'm probably going to turn some people off, but that's okay, because there are people that are uniquely meant to work with me, and uniquely to work with Felicia, and uniquely work with Chris. And that's what I love about us coming into a collective for this podcast, is because there's going to be people who resonate with the way I say things, the way Felicia says things, the way that Chris says things. But those are some examples in my life where at different points in my life where that egoic tendency was stronger when I was younger. And again, it's still here. It's not like my ego has disappeared.
And if it did, you would cease to exist.
Exactly. Our ego is our vehicle of orientation. It's this body. It's this. And so when our ego's gone, we're gone.
And I love that. What's so funny to me, right, is that you and I are here doing this podcast on ego. And when we were in college together, my gosh, right? Like the ego forward, solely driving the car.
Oh my God.
I had the exact same experience in that sense of like needing to fit in and needing to assimilate myself to all the different friend groups. The cool ones and the not cool ones, because I wanted to fit in with everybody. And I specifically had an example in my second year where all the women's team sat in a circle and told me what they didn't like about me. Because it was so inauthentic. I had no idea who I was. And I was trying to be everybody. And thus I'm nobody. And thus nobody even knows how to connect with me because I'm I'm trying to be all these other things that aren't even.
I love what you just said there. I love that phrase. It speaks to that those other phrases that I was getting of like, if I'm trying to be everybody, I end up being nobody.
Yeah. You're so like forgettable is the term that.
Yeah. It's diluted. Right? You're diluting yourself, right? It's dilution.
There might be little parts in there, but chemistry wise, like speak about the nerd, right? Like you diluted it with so much other poop. Like, you can't even taste your flavor anymore. I don't know why I said poop and taste. I like to be goofy.
No, like let's roll with this chemistry thing because I use the word titration a lot, right? Is that if we're trying to titrate out how much we can share of our authenticity with people, again, we're like, it seems harmless, but this is where we eat away at our souls if we're just titrating out and diluting ourselves. Again, you're the one suffering. We're the one suffering, actually.
Yeah, and I think it's in other people's best interest to filter, to titrate.
Yeah, right? That's usually why we're doing it, right?
And actually, Alicia Keys has this beautiful song called Gramercy Park. So if you guys go listen to it, it's very much in this alignment. And here's an example of when my ego came in just last night. So strongly. And it's funny. So I've been doing this coaching sessions with Chris, and we've been tapping into play, being more playful and opening up to my own gifts and unique strengths, right, through play. Because that's where like my ego is like really the truest in this form. And Devin and I did this episode on play, right? So if you haven't listened to that, please go listen to that one because it's also like completely aligned when your ego is of its truest expression. You are in play.
Totally.
And vice versa. Yep. Right? When you allow yourself to play, you come back to that trueness. And so some of you may not know, like I like to sing and play music, right? And so one week, a topic came up about being magical, and I decided to do the Benson Boone cover of Mystical Magical song. It has Moonbeam ice cream in it. It's really delightful. And so I did it on the ukulele, and I sent it to Chris as like a, haha, like this is what our session made me think of. And she sent me back these messages that were just mind-blowing to me. She was like, oh my gosh, Felicia, this is so good. And I thought, like, she's just being nice. my ego was immediately like, I'm not that good. Like, she's just trying to be nice. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Like, my son came in and like heard it mid-recording and was like, who is that? And so I still can't process this fully, like, as it's happening. And so music's been a big theme of ours. And yesterday, she said, oh, I'm getting the action step for you to write a song. And I've maybe written like 2 songs in my life. And I'm like, I'm not good enough to write a song. That's crazy. But it was flowing. And so yesterday I'm walking the dogs and I'm like magically typing out lyrics as I'm walking. And then I start putting like a melody to the lyrics. And I was like, oh, that was easy. And during our session, we were doing some tapping. And one of the words were, it will be easy. It will be easy. It will be easy. And that became the whole chorus of the song. And so I get home and I'm like, well, I'm going to play the ukulele. And I found the chords and the song came together in like 2 hours. It was so mind-blowingly easy. I sent it to her immediately. I was like, cool, look at this thing. I'm so happy. It felt so good. It was so flowy, blah, 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 blah. And then I go to bed that night and I'm like, oh my God, that was so bad. Like the song is so like repetitive and redundant. Like my whole ego is like just shutting this thing down because that expansion and that level of flow, I've experienced snippets of that, but that was like full stream of embodiment. Like going back to Devin's word from earlier, like embodiment of my truth, of my soul, of my experiences, of my abilities. And it scared me.
Mm.
And immediately the thoughts came in like, I don't know, Felicia. I don't think you should put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
What are people going to say? Like, it's derivative. It's silly.
Mm-hmm.
It is silly, and I love it for that.
Heaven forbid silliness.
Oh, and so these are the things where ego, when you let it, can be so magical, can be so playful, can be so wondrous and in awe. And that flip side of the coin, right? My favorite and least favorite topic is how much it can plague you sometimes and bring you into that shadow self and make you feel really small or like want to keep you hidden. So after this podcast, I will listen to the song again. I will play it for my friends later this evening. Right. And see how much I can allow myself to come back to that space.
Yeah.
Of just being and allowing.
And so that is such a prime example of, if we're just allowing, if we're not conscious of our ego, we're not optimizing our experience to be able to bring it into the fold. Your ego exists. It's going to be there. You cannot get rid of it. You can't annihilate it. And what we're inviting you into, and we're going to go into a demonstration and have you experience this, is that when we learn to work with the ego as part of your soul and your wholeness, that's when you get to have your unique experience in life. Yes, it can be a unique expression, like to share with others in song or in coaching or in something. And before all that, you get to experience you. You get to experience you. It's like, oh, yummy, yummy, right?
Feels like home.
Aho. Yes, it does.
Aho.
It's about aho. It's about coming home. It's about coming home. This is really actually what it is that when we're fighting these aspects to ourselves, we have ego, we have soul. But if I'm fighting an aspect to myself, I'm not going to feel at home in myself. I'm going to feel very shaken, very anxious, anxiety driven, very like just
uneasy,
shook,
just uneasy.
Unsettled, right? Because you're literally in this internal battle. And I imagine that, and I know there's a lot of people in the world right now, especially that are like really battling on the inside, and it's just being magnified in the world. And so that's why amongst all this chaos of the whole big world, we're here for you, the journey of you. This is your journey. It's your journey. So let's keep claiming it. Let's keep claiming it. So we're going to go into a practice of it so that you right now, real time, can claim your fullness, claim it, and integrate the ego. It's part of your experience. You ready? Here we go. Here we go. So I invite you to do eyes open or eyes closed, whatever is comfortable for you. Obviously, we're assuming you're all intelligent people. So if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Either pause, go park somewhere, or intend to touch base with this later when you have some conscious time. But when you're ready, I invite you to step into a space within yourself to imagine and remember a memory, a time in your life when your ego was in the forefront. It was running the show. Just remember what that time was like, maybe how old you were, where you were. And notice when the ego was running the show, what were you caught up in? Where'd your focus go? What were your thoughts? What were your feelings? What were your preoccupations and perceptions? And then by virtue of all of that, what actions did you take or not take because of all that running the show and consuming you? So notice that for yourself. Log that as being a really distinct and profound magnifying glass view on when ego's really in the forefront running the show, essentially the like kind of the only dominant thing. And then I want you to see if, is there a time in your life as well where you may have been resisting having an ego? So we can have time frames where the ego is in the forefront, and we can also have time frames where we're trying to pretend or resist having an ego. So this is kind of like spiritual bypassing, when you're trying to transcend the ego, trying to be above it all, thinking that that's the better way. So tune into if there was a time frame in your life where you were doing that, looking to transcend and be beyond the ego, pretending it's not part of you. Notice where your preoccupations are, the feelings, and your sense of self. Beautiful. Now I invite you to take a nice breath in. We're going to clear that. Letting go. 2 more breaths in your own pace. Now imagine the field is clear. You have a blank slate now. You're back in the present moment today with who and as you are today, real time. And now imagine that you acknowledge you have an ego. It's a part of you. It ain't going anywhere. It's right there. And imagine you look at it as like, it's a unique expression of my soul, of the soul of the universe. It's unique. It's actually a really special gift just for me. And imagine that you hold it, you embrace it, you harness it and bring it into you. You grab it and you bring it into you. And you're learning to work with it, through it. Notice what you feel like now, how you experience yourself, others, and the world now. What is life like when you acknowledge and embrace your ego as being the vessel and vehicle in which your soul gets to express itself? What are your thoughts then? What are your actions now? What do you see your potential and the potential of life now? Not denying this aspect of yourself, but fully embracing it, knowing it's not always going to be perfect. And it's all yours. And I just invite you to sit with that for the next few moments of what that is for you. And then once again, taking another breath in and letting go. And finding your own way in the next 2 breaths to integrate back into this present moment experience. Bringing this ego forward, integrated into your being right now. Breathing 2 more times in your own way. And then bringing yourself back to the present moment. And as you come back, notice how you see the world as you open your eyes and you went through that journey of you. And here you are. Here you are. Look around at the world. Notice what you see now. Notice how you experience yourself now. It's not just a meditation. It's not just imaginary exercise. Again, we're beyond philosophy here, folks. This is application. So what was it like for you to apply this, Felicia?
Okay. It was really funny. You said blank slate and like this little square canvas came up and it was white. And as you're talking about it, like the stick figures were like being painted on the canvas and they're having a little like doo doo doo. And then you like see yourself and this mirror comes up and it's all gilded, but it's all black and white. And I could see my stick figure self looking at the mirror and then my ego self's looking back and we're like, hey. And so you said embrace and we actually like hugged through the mirror. Right. And then the mirror's egoic self like integrates in. And it was crazy because like the mirror, animatedly, magically goes away. And we're strolling along. And as we're walking, it's lighter, it's jovial, it's bouncy. It's like, the background in an animated thing is like, but like there's the sun and it feels delightful. And the first thing we did was a cartwheel.
Naturally, obviously.
And then I like turned into Simone Biles and I was like a floor gymnast. Doing some back handsprings or whatever you call them. And it was like, it was funny and it was fun. And that.
I love that because a lot of people can have this perception of that if you embrace the ego, it's going to be heavy. And it's actually quite often the opposite of just what you're saying. It's lighthearted. It actually lightens up our heart to embrace our fullness, actually. And so it's this whole idea of, again, if we're trying to transcend the ego, if we're trying to just be in the light, we're missing an aspect to our experience. We have darkness. And it's actually when we embrace it, not saying that the ego is only darkness, just saying that there can be this common misconception that when you embrace your ego, you're embracing darkness. But it's like, yeah, and you're also embracing wholeness. You're embracing the light of me, the dark of me. And that's actually where true healing comes from. And I talk a lot about that in my book, Good Grief, because that was the biggest part of my grief journey is to not deny darkness and to not deny my individual experience of being a young girl who lost their mom to murder. Like I had to fully embrace that individual experience to then become lighter. And that's the paradox of this. It's the paradox of when people perceive the ego as a bad thing and you're resisting it, is you're actually resisting an aspect of yourself. And again, you're not getting that full experience of life and yourself.
And what's interesting to me, right? Obviously, it was very easy to tap into the egoic part that you guided us through in the beginning because I was just there.
Yeah.
But when you talked about denying or avoidance, it was so lonely. It was very detached. It was numb.
Yeah.
It was devoid of anything.
Yeah.
Which was so fascinating to feel. Like I didn't know I could experience that actually. Like that's not something on my spiritual path I've actually tried to do.
Okay. Yeah.
But as you guided me through it, I felt it.
Yeah.
I was like,
for me at that point, it was like the split. It was like I was splitting myself.
Yes.
I literally felt like I was like cut into two, and it was just like it was very disorienting. It was very disorienting, and it has an emptiness. It has an emptiness to it.
Yeah, when you say disorienting, it just paints such a clear picture. It's like it's directionless. It's almost meaningless.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to say because it feels heavy, but yeah, fascinating.
Yeah. No, I think this is actually a lot more common, especially if anybody out there has been on a spiritual path where you're just like constantly meditating or you're trying to rise above everything. And there usually comes a point where you're just like that. You're just blank, you know? Yeah. Yeah, like, because that's the thing. Okay, here's like, there's this whole, because I'm a meditator too, love meditation, and I don't live in meditation. Like, it's one thing to be meditating, it's another thing to be here as a human existing and being of service in the world and putting good into the world. And that's why I meditate. I meditate so that I can connect to the truth of myself and then come in this ego vessel to share what I'm learning along my path and what I'm here to do and to enlighten people and to spark people and bring them to life and live in delight. It's all about living in delight and living in joy. And so if I were to just go and meditate on mountains for the rest of my life, it's an option. And is that really the fullness of my life? Is that really the fullness of my expression? And who would be missing out on hearing from me and hearing my realness and right? And it's not approachable, right? Like if you've ever engaged with somebody who's just like totally like it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, and I would say, like, first and foremost, we are here to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if we sit in that on top of that mountain meditating, we don't even get to experience the things in life that you need to teach about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or
it's
learn
like,
about, right?
Or
like,
learn about.
Yeah.
Well, first learn and then teach, right?
Like, right? Like, hopefully.
hopefully. Like, as I'm going through this experience, like more and more it's becoming clear, like, oh, I'm here to connect people to play and connect people to their purpose through play. Because in my life, it's felt so heavy. It's felt so serious. This work is very serious. You know? And I must figure it out. And we get lost in that, right? And so my experience, this evolution that I'm having by being here with you, by experiencing your light and your delight and being delighted by you, right? It's like, oh yeah, like we are meant to commune. We are meant to connect. We are meant to be here with people, with the planet, communing with things, having these experiences in life, because that's where the fullness comes from.
Totally where the fullness comes from.
And so when I can play in those experiences, then I connect to my fullest egoic expression.
Yeah.
Then I share with others as well. And then, you know, like Devin's saying, it's like, then we all become okay being ourselves. What that means. I don't have to be anybody else to please anybody else. And yes, of course, I'm still working through this, obviously.
Well, because like that's the journey. This is the journey of you. This is the journey of you. Is the journey is full integration. And I think I shared this on some other one of our episodes, but one of my mentors first said of that, if you think your work is done, you have 7 minutes left to live. Like,
right, like the end goal, quote unquote, if that is the end goal, like what is the end goal of life? Is death. So you're not done yet.
No, you have life right now, right? We like all we have is now. I know you guys have heard that, and we've talked about that before. Is all we have is now, and so right now with you, Felicia, like being in our fullness and sharing our egoic perception, sharing our truth, that allows us to be real human beings and being perfectly imperfect. And I know for both of us in our 20-year friendship, that's how we've actually grown closer, I believe. And then also too, it allows other people to connect with us because they see us as like, oh, they're real human beings.
Yeah, not some idyllic person that just floats atop this cloud.
Yep, totally.
Unreachable, unattainable.
Yep. So listeners, how can you move forward from this moment forward with your ego integrated into your existence as the unique expression of soul? How can you do that? What does that look like for you? And we invite you to ponder that and sit with that. And maybe you have path references and maybe you don't. But from this moment forward, we invite you to sit with how would I love to move forward with my ego integrated as part of my existence as the unique expression of soul.
That's funny because you said "from this moment" a couple times, and it reminded me of the Shania Twain song, like "from this moment, life has begun." We're singing two different verses. That's excellent. And they both were applicable. So
Totally.
Oh, this is often how Devin and I conversation goes.
We sing.
We sing and then we laugh, and then we sing and we laugh. I really, really hope that you, all the listeners, I hope that you enjoyed this and felt this and experienced this, because this took me a long time to understand how to work with the ego, how to integrate the ego, how the ego is this unique expression of myself that gifts me with my own uniqueness, that gifts me these strengths that I want to experience in abundance and want to know how to experience. And so if you felt moved by this in any way, shape, or form, like, share this with others. If you resonated with this, share it with us. You know, we always love to hear in the comments or through our email how our listeners are receiving this, because you are our focal point. You are our focal point. Change those words. And I really want you, if you take nothing else, like, feel it in your cells, see how and where your life can expand, how much we allow space for in terms of like that integration and feeling that lightness through the darkness, feeling the jovialness. You know, life is here. Life is here for us.
Right now. Right now. So may you give that gift to yourself. And until next time on the Journey of You podcast, here's to you. Here's to your joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.